The Indian economy is expanding at a breakneck pace. New factories are coming online, cities are sprawling outward, and hundreds of millions of people are joining the global middle class. It is a massive industrial engine running at near maximum capacity. This proportional comparison chart shows India's domestic energy production capacity against its daily consumption requirements. The gap between what the country pulls from its own soil and what it burns every 24 hours is an immense deficit. To fill that gap, the country turns outward. Every single day, India buys millions of barrels of oil and gas on the global spot market, an international exchange where prices fluctuate based on the immediate laws of supply and demand. This creates a rigid structural dependency. No matter how strong domestic manufacturing grows, the daily operation of the entire national economy relies on foreign markets that the government cannot control. When tensions flare up in the Middle East, like a military standoff with Iran, the threat reaches far beyond regional politics. It creates immediate friction along the major global shipping routes, where a vast majority of the world's petroleum flows. Traders look at those constrained sea lanes and panic. The mere probability of an interrupted cargo ship causes global forecasts for available oil to drop, which sends the spot market price surging overnight. For the average citizen, that global supply drop translates directly into higher costs at the local pump. Importing LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, relies on these vulnerable sea logistics. When shipping gets risky, the cost to import petrol, diesel, and cooking gas immediately jumps. That price hike quickly infects the rest of the system. Trucks cost more to fuel, meaning grocery deliveries cost more, leading to inflation across daily goods, while energy-intensive manufacturing lines are forced to slow down. A military maneuver thousands of miles away becomes a direct, measurable drain on the wallet of a commuter in Mumbai or a farmer in Punjab. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's meetings in the UAE represent an urgent mission to build a structural shield for the Indian economy. This dialogue is the architecture of a strategy designed to protect national growth from global market swings. The primary goal is to exit the volatility of the daily spot market. Instead of buying energy at whatever price the market dictates, India is negotiating long-term, stable contracts with fixed volumes and predictable pricing. The United Arab Emirates is a vital partner for this requirement. Their massive extraction and refining infrastructure provides the scale needed to honor these commitments. By locking in these contracts, the Indian government places a firm ceiling on its baseline energy costs. If a regional conflict breaks out and global spot prices suddenly surge, the contracted supply lines remain completely insulated. This specific diplomatic action functions as a financial shock absorber, catching the impact of global inflation before it can reach the everyday consumer. Contracts provide financial stability, but India's defense strategy requires a second, physical layer of security, the expansion of strategic petroleum reserves, or SPRs. Unlike standard storage tanks, an SPR requires heavy subterranean engineering. These are massive caverns designed to stockpile millions of barrels of emergency crude oil. The UAE acts as a primary partner in this physical infrastructure, supplying and co-managing the actual crude oil required to fill these vast underground reservoirs. This flowchart illustrates a crisis. If international supply lines are severed, underground valves open, diverting stockpiled oil into the domestic grid. A countdown timer then displays the exact days the grid can survive, giving the government a runway to negotiate alternative supplies. These reserves operate as a physical insurance policy, transforming diplomatic handshakes into tangible, subterranean security. Compared to a grid exposed to market panic, this stable, continuous pipeline infrastructure represents a secure, controlled flow of resources. The combination of locked-in contracts and physical reserves creates a dual-layered economic shield. This strategy has transformed India and the UAE into integrated partners, each holding a direct stake in the other's domestic stability. When factories run on imported power and logistics networks require continuous maritime shipments, energy security becomes an absolute requirement for national defense. For a rising power aiming for economic independence, shielding the homeland requires forging deep, pragmatic alliances to buffer against an increasingly volatile world.